I'm David Wright from Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, and this is Survivor Talk with Dwaine and David. Whatever generation you're from, these guys are worth listening to.
Welcome to Survivor Talk with D&D. We're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. I am Dwaine, and I am here with the guy who didn't win Durham Warrior Survival Challenge because he set aside his criminal justice studies and pursued communications instead. My co-host and best friend, David Jones.
I wish I was young enough when I played that to have set aside my college studies if I was still in college at that time.
Oh, how many times have we heard? Well, let me introduce Kelley first. Who I just did. We have a wonderful guest today. We love her. She's been on the show several times. We are one of her favorites. I mean, I didn't say that. All the way from some unpronounceable city in Washington, two-time Survivor player, Kelley Wentworth.
Ephrata. Hey, Dwaine.
Ephrata.
You don't know how many times? I mean, Probst, I'm sure he didn't know Cerie's actual number, but you don't know how many times Kelley's been on our show?
Is it 3 or 4? Probably. Oh, yeah, because we've done a Kelley and Friends show that's for patrons only.
Yeah, that's right.
Plug to become a patron. Wow. Man, okay, we had Varner on that show. We had
Sierra,
your dad, Sierra, Don Thomas. Did we have Malcolm? Was he on there?
No.
No. Who else was on there?
I don't
remember.
One
more. Oh.
It was a very memorable night for her, I can tell.
Yeah. She was like, I have to find people to be on this show, Dwaine. Just call me when it's time to start. Yeah, she made a lot of effort. She got her dad. Sierra and Friends that Dwaine and David picked for her.
Yeah, basically.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, guys.
But that was a fun show, and that is if you're a patron, you can go and listen to that show. So
yeah, I'm not a patron, so I haven't seen it
Kelley,
either.
we are so glad you're on the show. How have you been?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been kind of quiet in the Survivor world lately. Just getting back to normal life. I'm getting married next month. So, whoa.
Awesome. And today,
what's that?
You're getting married next month, and today is my 26th anniversary with my wonderful wife.
That's a long time, Dwaine. Whoa.
It's just the beginning. I love it.
Good for you.
Is.
No, I know. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hey, talk to us in 27 years in July and let me know how it goes.
Oh, her?
Yeah, see me in 27 years. Let me know how it goes, because it is awesome.
She'll be great.
Best thing I've ever done.
I have great advice on how to never lose your wonderful spouse. You can ask me later.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so you're getting married next month.
Next week? Whoa.
If it was next week, she's going, I need to get off. I got a whole lot to do.
Yeah. Next month, June 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
June 30th. Yeah. Well, congratulations. David and I look forward to our invite. And
she only wants a gift. Send her some T-shirts. A couple mugs and T-shirts. There you go.
We will fly to the Bahamas, where I'm sure you're getting married.
Yeah.
Have you kept it secret so there's no paparazzi there and things?
Yeah, it's very small. It's literally 20 people.
Yeah, announcing it on our show is still going to keep it very small.
Grandparents.
So.
Yeah. I didn't say where.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
Oh, man. But
did you invite the choir?
I didn't. No, and I'm actually in my condo today, so there won't be any extra noise going on.
Yeah.
That was still probably one of my favorite moments on the show.
I was going to say, the reason why I bring it up all the time is because it's one of my most memorable moments ever in 304 episodes of Survivor Talk.
Singing Christmas carols on the podcast. But anyway,
life's
good.
June.
Life is good. Yeah.
Well, good. We are glad to have you on, and I'm looking forward to talking about the finale. Anyway, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah.
But for a variety of reasons, none of us could record tonight, and y'all don't care about why, so we're broadcasting in the middle of the day. So if you are watching in your cubicle, be sure to have your finger on that page swiping thing. So when your boss walks up, you're looking at a spreadsheet. You're not looking at Kelley and me and David.
Yeah, no. Cover your bases, everybody.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some amazing news. Thanks to David's connections, David does a really good job of, I don't know, it's not a really good job. David just has a way of interacting with the survivors that are playing in the past that he develops these great friendships with them. And he has, well, we both know Troyzan, but he's gotten Troyzan to come on next week. And Troyzan's going to come on.
We hope.
And he's going to tell us everything. Because I know many of you were wondering, where was Troyzan? Well, he's going to tell you. He was everywhere, but the cameraman had his camera
He was
off.
playing hide and seek all season.
Yes, yes. So he's going to be there. Yes, we're going to ask him about, I am looking forward to talking to him about his emotional final tribal council and the transition from, heck yeah, I can win, to, you know what, I'm not going to win, but this was an awesome experience.
Yeah, we got
good for y'all.
He's got company in right now, and we're going to talk probably this weekend. So hopefully we'll lock in Thursday. If not, maybe we'll find another date that works with Dwaine this week. So,
all right, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's going to be great.
That will be fun, you guys. It's always so interesting to get players' perspective after the season's over and hear about all the stuff that happened, because there's so much you don't see. So that's really cool.
Right.
I'm excited to hear about.
We've also got another one.
We
got another one lined up that we didn't see a whole lot of, but I don't want to. Did we announce it last week?
No, because you told me today you haven't got a confirmation.
I got a confirmation last week, but I want to get another confirmation before, in case they change their mind or something. Because
can we be any more obscure?
So we might have another.
Is it a girl or a guy?
Yeah,
it's a lady,
girl.
but it's another person that I'd love to hear what else was going on that we didn't see.
Yeah, and then I am going to work my butt off to get Sarah on this show. I am. Yeah. We had Tony on the show, and she's friends with Tony. And Cass is a good friend of the show, and she's friends with Cass. So we're going to get Sarah on the show, and if we don't, well then...
Hang on, I'll text her. Hold on.
All right, here we go. It's time for some Survivor Talk. All right, I don't know about y'all, but I loved this season. I was wary going in. No, I love every season of Survivor. I enjoy watching Survivor, period. But I wasn't sure. But, man, they have, in my opinion, they have delivered this season. Not CBS. The players have delivered this season.
I have mixed feelings. I feel like I went up and down on the season. I did like it. I feel like it's one of those where when I go back and watch it again, I'll appreciate it more. Because there was a lot of good stuff that happened, a lot of crazy moments. I'm really upset about the Sari situation, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But
yes.
I think there's some parts of it I didn't like. I thought there were too many advantages in the game. It just kind of didn't seem like it was as fair. But I did like the season overall. And, of course, I'm a little bitter that some of my favorite people went out early. But I'll try to not let that change my mind about the season as a whole.
But that's part of the reason why I liked it. Well, I'm not, personally friends with them, so it's not the same for me. But one of the reasons why I liked it is because some of those good players did get out early, which shows you that people were playing the game. They weren't just going, okay, Tony, we'll just wait for that later, or Malcolm or whatever. We'll just wait. They went after him, which I liked.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him play longer. Although Tony tried to do last time's game, and that didn't work.
That didn't work. That was a horrible strategy, but we don't need to go that far back. I don't even. Yeah,
the guy runs out into the woods, turns around, and goes, "No one following me." Oh well.
I like that this season turned into kind of a second chance towards the latter half of the season. We had a lot of people playing for the first time, a second time, and we did get a lot of big names out of the way pre-merge. And who knows if we'd have gotten Sarah, if we still had Malcolm, or if we still had JT, who knows how the game would have turned if they not gone. So I like the fact that we got to see a lot of people that we haven't seen but once, and not 5 or 7 or 12 times. But I love the second chance season idea. I thought that was a really great season, and I like seeing people play a second time. You play a third time, you got a resume. I can't imagine Ty playing again, but he's gonna play again at some point.
No.
And he's gonna find 12 idols, and he's gonna get manipulated, and he's gonna be the same person. But what was so great about the season was watching Sarah play like I thought she would play in Cagayan, because she was my pick in Cagayan, but it didn't work out. But I loved that she adapted and played the way she did this season, and I that's what I enjoyed about the season. people-wise. There were some things I didn't enjoy, but otherwise there was some other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, and I don't want to get to Sarah yet, even though she's top on my list. I want to address something that Kelley said first. But I don't know. I think Sarah was playing such a great game that I think she might have won regardless. But we'll get to that later. Kelley, you made a good point. Let's go ahead and address the whole Siri thing. Wait,
did you just call her Siri like the phone app?
Every
I just
week.
did.
No, I don't. He just woke up so many iPhones that listen to this podcast.
No, I have never done it. And I can't believe I just did it. You know what?
It's okay.
I would so take that out of the podcast if it weren't for the fact that I don't mind people laughing at me.
You have to leave it. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. That's half the fun of our show is laughing at me. So
okay, so Siri.
Siri. Go ahead. Start the Siri conversation.
Well, okay.
Kelley.
Like many people, I'm a huge Siri fan. So I was really hoping she would win. But that tribal council was really so devastating. I mean, obviously it was shades of Second Chance where Jeremy and I played our idols and it was between Kimmy and Keith. But in this situation, there was literally nobody and she didn't have a vote. I mean, that is so unfair. Like, that is literally, I know the game isn't fair, but at the same time, that's just really unfortunate. And I would be really heartbroken if I were in Suri's position.
I can't think of any other outcome when everybody has immunity except for you.
No, right? I mean, that's crazy.
There is no other outcome.
No. Yeah. I mean, and the worst part is she didn't even have a vote in the bin. I mean, that is so sad.
But wait a minute. How did Jeff know that? Because he doesn't look at the votes before he brings them back.
Yeah. Okay.
That was weird.
He doesn't. He always picks them out randomly.
Yes. Yeah, no particular order.
Yeah. Yeah. No. What did you guys think of the whole thing?
I thought that it was almost scripted to the degree that, gosh, guys, don't make it so obvious that people are going to play idols and this thing is coming and everything else, because Probst was so prepared for that moment that he wasn't shocked at all. I thought it was horrible because to me it's worse than the rock draw because she had no control. And like you said, it breaks your heart. I got to walk out with no votes. Seriously, Jeff? No votes. I wasn't even on their radar at this point. I will be next week or tomorrow, but at this, no votes. So, and I looked at Ty and smacked him on the side of his head. Really? You played it for her? So, but it was
also,
bad.
I didn't understand Ty, going back to Ty and the idols, the whole thing made no sense to me about telling Brad and then saving Aubrey, and then the next vote he votes out Aubrey. It seems like the whole thing was just such a waste. It's so weird. That's a whole different subject, but anyway.
That is Ty. Yes, that is Ty. In a nutshell, I don't understand what Ty did. Look up Ty in the dictionary. It'll say, I don't understand what Ty did.
You know what? Ty doesn't understand either. It says see redundancy because he saved Aubrey one night. The next night he wanted to vote her out because he couldn't beat her.
Makes no sense.
He's all over the place. I am just glad that he didn't give Brad an idol. I'm like, dude, you better hang on to those idols and play him one, then play him two at the next tribal council, and at least have a shot at the final challenge to stay in the game.
Okay, before we let this get away from our original thing
we're spiraling. Go back to Suri. And the idols,
I mean, all these things are on my list to talk about, so we're going to talk about them. But David, it is similar to Jessica, except Jessica's decision put her into that position.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So that, I mean, we love having Jessica on the show too, by the way, Kelley. But she's a blast.
I'm sure.
I don't know if you've seen any of those, but
great. That's like saying we're having such a great time at dinner, but I really had a good time at dinner with that other person too. That last week.
That's not what I'm saying. I said
she knows.
As well.
She knows.
Oh man! Hey, when I was dating Connie, this is absolutely horrible. I should not share this with you, but we were at lunch at college, and we're sitting there, and they were like, "Connie's pretty" or whatever, and I said, "You want to see pretty?" And I pulled out an old picture of my old girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, Dwaine!
I know,
okay, we should probably go back to talking about Suri.
You should probably edit that.
So Suri.
But listen, what about for Suri though? Suri, who never got a negative word from Probst, who only got encouragement from Probst, even at the reunion got a solo curtain call to come out by herself.
Absolutely.
What a better way for somebody of her legendary status, and I do consider her that because I do think she's a really smart player, to go out of the game, not getting voted out her last time. Oh, let's have a fan vote. Who gives her a fan award? Let's give her money. But I mean, what else can you give for somebody like that? It's kind of a legendary way to go out. You know, they didn't vote her out. She just went out as that.
It is, but that whole production thing they did with bringing her out on the stage, they know they screwed up.
Yes.
Like, they had too much stuff. They know that was not right to have somebody go out of the game like that.
Oh, can we?
Because they had too many idols in play?
Can we go there now?
Too many idols, too many advantages. Like, they know that that was...
Yes.
That's
I'm with
why they brought her out and she got her own thing and they praised her, because they know that was super crappy.
Yeah.
It's to show our apology. We want to give you this check.
Yeah.
To double
Where's
what
the
you
$1 billion?
got. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and bring back fan favorite for just this season and give her $100,000.
Yeah.
Why not? You know she'd win it. But anyway.
Because life's not fair, Dwayne.
That's right.
That's right.
The production can screw up every once in a while.
Yeah, that's true.
But don't bring that up in a reunion show or they will get on with you about it. But anyway, so yeah, sorry, I felt. Oh man, it's just a bummer. Okay, so we've done that enough. But man, she earned respect for me this season. Early on in the pre-show, I was like, Cerie's not all she's cracked up to be. Well, I was wrong, and I think I said that about week 3 or week 4.
Yeah. And
from then on, it was a pleasure to watch her play, to watch her manipulate people. And the way she worked with Michaela and things like that, and
I love that she wasn't just one-dimensional. Sorry,
right?
I love that she wasn't just one-dimensional. She could finish puzzles. She could knock out puzzles. She could help in challenges. So she wasn't somebody just said, "All right, we're going to a challenge. All right, let me wait. Okay, let's go back to camp so I can talk some more and be Cerie." Because she's great at camp.
Right.
You know, she knows when to walk up, and she knows how to work people and manipulate people. Everybody knows how to manipulate Ty now, so that's just kind of a given. But yeah.
But Cerie does it in such a subtle way. Like it's just her relationships with people. It's just the way she talks to people that people trust her and they want to work with her and tell her things. It's not, you can't even teach that. It's just a natural thing she has with people, and that's amazing.
And she's your mom, so your mom's not going to do anything bad to you.
Wait, what?
Well, she's like the mom. You know?
Okay.
She's not your mom, Kelley.
Like, where is this going?
Dale? Do we need to get Dale back on the front?
No, but, you know, it's like you're out there and Cerie's the mama.
Yeah.
You know? She's like she's the mom figure, but not in the way that other women, not in the way that other older women are sometimes putting that mom figure.
I know what you're saying.
I don't know. It's just like, it's her. That's who she is. And so, I'm not going to vote my mama out of Survivor.
Yeah.
I love my mama.
She is so gutsy that she went to Ty last week and to get him to trust her. And he said, I don't know if I can trust you. And she says, when you see me stand up to play that, will you trust me then? But the problem is he will have already voted. So she's asking him to trust her before she has to prove that he can trust her, because then she's going to kind of mess him up on that. But
okay, let's talk about that, because that was a brilliant plan by her, to the point where she sat on the log. Don't make fun of my stuttering. We love you, Kelley.
I thought you were stopping yourself from saying Siri again, which is why you said her. So that's why I was laughing.
No, that's not what I was doing. So much to the fact that she sat there and went, I don't even know if I can pull this off, right? Yeah. And this will get exposed next week. But even Probst didn't realize. Nobody realized except for one person on the. Well, I guess now we're going to know who we're going to figure it out from. But Probst didn't realize it was non-transferable. He hadn't thought of that.
Yeah,
it was a great plan.
Yeah, I saw some of the exit interviews that people were saying something, or I don't know what's been floating around. But
Michaela shared that
Okay.
Troyzan said she didn't want to give Troyzan a lot of credit, but Sarah was and Brad was on Twitter, that he's the one that said, "Hey, you need to read that again," because I think I heard something that said non. And actually, I messed up before somebody calls me out on it. Suri was asking him to trust her before the votes were cast, because she had to stand up and take somebody's vote before the votes were cast. So I got that backwards. Right. Somebody's going to call me out on it. But Michaela said that they went back and forth, this, that, and the other. And I think Troyzan may have said something. And Brad and Sarah said, yeah, he's the one that called it out and said, hey, non-transferable was said. You need to read that again. So
right. So in all defense of Suri, that was an amazing plan. Mm-hmm. I mean, that and Sarah said, I'm giving you this. Not just I'm giving you this to hold. She said, I'm giving you this. Right? Now, her intent may have been to hold, but she said those words. And so why would Suri not feel like she just gave me this? You know? But unfortunately, when you do something that looks like you're doing something bad, even though you mean it for good, and you get caught, it's hard to believe that you did it for good. You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks to Ty around the camp.
No, that was so, I just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think I've met Ty. He's one of the sweetest people I've ever met, you guys. But honestly, he's just not good at Survivor. He's not.
Right. No, he's
too
not.
Sweet. He's just not. And I feel so bad because he is such a sweet soul. But, oh my gosh, it's just so hard to watch.
Okay, and what makes him not good is that he can't lie. You can not manipulate. You can guilt him into telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And then he tells you the truth. That's why Sarah looked over at Suri and went, I apologize.
Yeah.
You know, you were right. And so why does everybody get mad at Sarah for lying? That's what makes a good player. You can deceive and you can develop relationships and use those relationships against the people so that you can win. And this is on my notes. I am sick of the. It just drives me nuts that at Tribal Council they act like they're so hurt. You know, it just hurts me. We developed a beautiful relationship and you stabbed me in the back. And how can you possibly win the game after doing that? Come on.
See, this is the difference between the way you watch and the way I watch. Because to me, those people were already voting for Sarah. They just wanted to give her one last jab for voting them out before they vote for her to win $1 million. I didn't really buy. I understood that they might have been upset, but at the same time, they were still giving her credit for basically explaining her game for her. So she didn't have to. So
is that the way it is, Kelley?
I don't know. It's just so different for everybody. So I'm the type of person where I can definitely see the difference between the gameplay and like your actual relationship with people. And to be honest with you, everyone says like, oh, like these, you know, this turns into family or whatever, but it's not. Those aren't your friends and family. Like when you get home, like I talked to maybe 2 people from all my 2 times I've played. I mean, because it's a relationship for 39 days. It's not your entire life. So I don't understand why people get so upset. I'm like, it's a game. We all came to win $1 million. Survivor's been on for 34 seasons. Like, you know what the game's about. I don't know why there's any shock factor here. So I see what David's saying, but I mean, you do go into Final Tribal, I think, knowing who you're going to vote for. I mean, it's pretty, you know how you feel. But I do think that on the other end, that those were obviously genuine hurt feelings. Like, Andrea was crying, which is so weird to me. I really don't understand it. Like, you know, I think it's just more, I think it's just more the emotion when you're sitting on the jury is you still feel disappointed that you're not at the end. Like, I think that's where the emotion comes from, that you're upset that you're not there. I mean, it's still very hard.
So do you feel like Andrea and them are more emotional than, say, like a Michaela or a Zeke, right? And so they do feel the same way as Michaela and Zeke in that props to you for outplaying me. But they're just more emotional, so they don't present it like Michaela and Zeke.
Yeah, I just think they're not so obvious about it. You know, because when you're sitting on the jury, you still want to be heard. It's like your last, like, I can really, you know, I can say what I want to say, and you have to listen because you need me to win.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right. Yeah. Okay. But I get a kick out. I mean, let's just go ahead and say it. I get a kick out of watching Michaela. She was a treat for me. Every time Final Tribal Council came around, I was just getting my popcorn out and looking forward to whatever Michaela was going to do. And she did not disappoint. And I
loved when she asked Brad to tell him to tell her
Yes.
Like, what do you know about me? I thought that
Yes.
was so funny because it's so true. I mean, she caught him. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you're like literally the basics. Like, I know where you live
Yeah.
and I know what you do. It's like,
Yeah.
after 39 days, you should probably know where somebody lives and what
Yeah.
they do for a living. Like,
And then he kind of fumbles around.
yeah.
I mean, what do you want, Michaela? What do you want? No further questions, Your Honor. Yeah,
That was pretty
good.
classy. Yeah, I love that.
I loved it.
I just hope that the next time
absolutely
Probst calls her, because he will call her again, I just hope that she watches the Ponderosa video she made this season and compares it and contrasts it to the way she was perceived in the game. Because she was not the happy camper in game. At Ponderosa, she's one of the funniest, most delightful people you can watch. She was having a ball, but at the same time, you got to fake it at some point. You don't want to be the person destroying camp and destroying morale. I mean, almost everybody was ready to vote her out. They tried, and they flipped the vote to Haley at the last minute. But I don't know. I hope she learns from that, learns from what Sari told her, gets more coaching or something, because I think she's a neat person. She's very articulate, but she needs to control her way, her manners.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I still like her breaking out the cup and eating grapes or whatever.
Nah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah. It was
weren't,
fine.
But I loved it.
I was kind of in the middle. I mean, I thought at times it was funny, but then it almost was too much at the same time.
She wasn't drinking a cup when she got voted out, was she?
Well, no. And, okay, that actually brings us to a good transition, because we were talking about how much we liked Sari and how much and how good of a game she played. And as good of a game she played, Sarah still outplayed her. Sarah turned that whole situation around, and who did she take out? Sari's second hand. Took out Michaela right away. Hurt Sari's game big time. And that's just one example of how well Sarah played this season.
I think, the reason Sarah won is that she always had her finger like on the pulse of the game. Like, she always knew what was going on, and that's how you have to play, as a step ahead. And so she was always just knew where to go next. So
right.
it was brilliant.
And I think that's because she spoke to everybody. She conversed with everybody. Everybody, to me, that was a secret of her win, was that everybody was okay with her winning, because at some point everybody thought they were playing with her, and everybody thought she had their back until the last minute. And people like Zeke, I loved it when Zeke went to Ponderosa and said, I can't wait to watch the rest of this. She got me good. They got me good. They took me out. They should have, because I was going after them next. But he went to it with such a positive attitude to Ponderosa that he couldn't wait for the rest of the season. That's the love of Survivor, instead of going there being bitter and stuff. But she made relationships with everybody, and Brad didn't. I mean, and I thought that was the big deciding point, and that everybody thought they were with her. There was a vote where there was a vote for every person on that jury where she voted with somebody except for Haley. And then later on, she voted against them. She voted them out, so everybody was with her at one point. And at the same time, she put everybody on the jury.
Yeah. She also did a brilliant job at Final Tribal. I think the way she explained her game was perfect. And so that was really helped. And on the other end, Brad putting Ty as the last jury member was a horrible decision. I mean, if he had put Troyzan there or Sarah there, I think he may have gotten more votes. But sending Ty after being so nasty to him, I think that was a really terrible decision on his part.
Yeah, I agree.
And again,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, again, I feel like that is another testament to Sarah's game. Mm-hmm. Because Sarah was obviously, to us, was obviously going to win.
Yeah.
The only person who might have beat her was Sari.
Yeah.
And yet, Brad and Troyzan didn't recognize that.
Yeah.
Because generally, when you're at a position where you don't win immunity, and you're at 4, and you are obviously the dominant player, your game's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But not Sarah. And then she even manipulated that to the point where I don't even know. I just feel like she even manipulated that. In fact, I was going to ask you, what was Sarah's strategy with Ty going into final?
Final 4?
Yeah.
And she had won immunity.
No, going at Final 4, going to Tribal, where she was talking with Ty. What did she accomplish? Because I feel like she accomplished something, and I'm just not seeing it. And I'm wondering what that was.
What part are you talking about?
With Ty or with the other two?
Okay,
you mean when they were going to go to fire?
Yeah, her whole talking with Ty about let's, we could tie the game and we could go to fire and things like that. What did she accomplish by discussing that with Ty?
Continuing the relationship. If anything, she put herself first before Ty, which is the game itself. But she said it, and I'm just going to relate it to what Kelley just said about Sarah's work at Tribal. Brad went there as an attorney to argue. Mm-hmm. Sarah went there as a witness. She said, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to confess everything, own up to everything, and tell everything. And she said it to even Ty. You all are there because wasn't sure if I could beat you all. That's why you're all up there.
That was good. That was good.
So, and I think that's partly to Ty as well, as a compliment to Ty. But at the same time, Ty, I could do that with you, but I don't know if I want to risk my game on fire or something, or risk something to that effect. I'd rather just vote my way and keep myself safe. That's how I've got here. Why do anything different?
Okay. This is what I think she was doing. I feel like she was securing the fact that Ty would not vote against her. Okay. Because if Ty votes against her, she's out. So by getting him into a situation where he thinks Troyzan and Brad are going to vote him out, mm-hmm. and then also getting him into a position where he feels like he has her trust, then she has put herself in a position where he's not going to vote against her, and then she can turn around, as she did, and vote against him. That's what I think she did that was so brilliant.
Oh, you already had an answer, and it's a good answer, too.
Well, I kind of figured it out as we were talking. At least that's what I think.
You know, Mrs. Smith.
You worked through it.
Mrs. Smith. I figured out that math problem after I turned in my test. Can I get the test back and give you?
Yeah. Oh, how many times has that happened though?
That is the worst.
On a test.
That is the worst.
Well, okay, so that therein goes to my point. She should have been voted out, but she manipulated that to the point where she was in the final three, and she shouldn't have been.
She played up to every jury member before she put him on the jury.
Yeah. Well, and she manipulated Ty so that three wouldn't get her out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's see. There's some other things I wrote about her. I guess after weeks and months, I will better be able to look at this from without less emotion. But I feel like she played one of the best games I've ever seen, personally. I love the fact that she talked to Tony a lot. And that we know, Cass told us that she and Cass talked so much about her gameplay this season, which says a lot. Her and Cass and Tony are all friends, and that Cass and her talked so much about this game and how Sarah was going to play. And I think Sarah came in ready to win. She had power, but she didn't ever use it like Brad used it. She was always listening. She was always looking, and she was willing to play the way she needed to play. And she used her skills as a policeman to win the game. And at first I thought that was kind of silly. No one else notices the tag on a license plate, but I do. And I thought that was kind of silly, but I mean, I just was very impressed with her the entire game, and especially towards the end.
I do think she's a great winner. I think she played a great game, but I do think she obviously didn't have as big a target on her back going in, and I know how that goes. So she did have a lot more freedom to be a little more aggressive. So I think someone like Sari, I think had a big target coming in. Someone like Sandra, who went out pre-merge, but I feel like some of those people, I feel like they also played great games based on the targets they had going in. So yeah, I think Sarah played a good game, but I do think she had a little more freedom to act that way because no one really knew that she would do that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you went in and out a lot, so I'm going to see if I understood what you meant. Especially early on in the game, she didn't have as big of targets on her as, say, a Sandra, a TJ, a Tony, a Malcolm, and all these people. They had those big targets, which allowed her to play her game under that. And then when they're all gone, she rises up and does what she does. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, I was just saying that if you don't have as big a target, you can play a little bit differently. Like you can be a little crazier because people aren't expecting that from you.
So
but she did play a great game, but I'm just saying.
Right. No, you're right. She never had to win an immunity challenge because her name wasn't really coming up. How many times do you think her name was voted at Tribal this season?
A couple. I don't know how many.
Know.
3 times, and all 3 times it was blocked by the legacy advantage. Those were the only 3 votes she ever received at a Tribal Council, except for the finale. So
you know
she
who also didn't receive any votes? Sari.
Sari, yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, though, Sari was also a big target, I think, coming into this game just based on how people perceive her. And I feel like, based on how far she got and the way she went out, I feel like she also played a great game. So I'm just saying, Sarah was great, but,
I think one thing that leads to both of those statements, because I agree that Sarah played a great game. It was very fun to watch, and Sari did as well, was because we were shown so much of their game and what they did from week to week. And ever since before the merge, I didn't see anybody but Sarah winning. I just didn't think anybody was going to have the resume she did. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago, who could beat Sarah, and we thought Sari might if she gets there, but I didn't think Sarah would let her get there. But to me, that was the only thing about the second half of the season. As much as I enjoyed watching all of these people play, it just seemed like it was so Sarah heavy that last night was kind of anticlimactic for me.
I agree 100%. And that's why you do have to take into consideration the editing. Like, I know for example, Andrea, I think there was a point where they showed her as in control and she was looking amazing. And it's just like why did Troyzan think he could win? I mean, we didn't see anything, and obviously the jury didn't either. But you have to imagine that there's more to it. There's just a lot more to everybody's game. So, I mean, you're right, David. I didn't see anyone but Sarah winning either. It just didn't.
I'm all about intel, so I loved every second of Sarah's game. So I love that I got to see it. But there was 8 other people out there and 12 other people out there at times, and nothing against Sarah. It's not her fault. She played a great game, and production loved her, and they loved Sari, and they loved showing Ty where they out. I mean, no, they just kept playing and putting things where they were, but that was one reason I think she makes a great winner is because of her edit was so good, but at the same time, it kind of lost a little steam for me at the end.
Okay, so this is where, as Kelley said earlier, CBS is kicking themselves in the butt for putting so many advantages in the game because that caused Sari to get out earlier than they wanted, or maybe not than they wanted. But because Sari got out, since she was the only viable competition against Sarah, that if she had not gotten out and she had gone further in the game, the story that CBS wanted to show us would have been totally different. It would have been Sari versus Sarah. Who's going to win? They both get to the final. Who's going to win? Because they would have had that story to tell. But they didn't have that story to tell. And all they had was Brad and Ty to tell to go along with it.
I felt like the pushing of the Brad, like, oh, he's won 5 immunities. Like, we've seen it. We get it. Like, that doesn't just win you Survivor. I mean, even Mike, who won, like, he still played idols. He still did different things. Like, like Brad, I mean, they really tried to push out on us. And he did get votes. I mean, it's closer than it's been in other seasons. But it was kind of like, really? I mean, if Sarah didn't win, it would have been tragic.
Right. But, again, that's because what other story did they have to tell?
That's what I mean, though. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Good point. Very good point. And also, the jury, the only thing they know about challenges is who's wearing the necklace. They don't know anything else about challenges. They don't see the challenges. They do see and hear what people have been doing at camp when they come to Tribal Council. So what's said there is basically what the jury gets to hear and what people tell them when they come in. So, and I don't think
was bad for Brad.
What?
Oh, absolutely.
Say that again, Kelley.
The tie situation.
The Snickers bar. When he needed a Snickers. Yeah.
He was so look, part of working with people, especially if you're in a position of power and you're trying to get them to do something you want them to do, is to know who they are. If you look at Ty, you don't treat him like that because you're not going to get anything from Ty by doing that. No. You've got to handle Ty differently. But Brad couldn't do that. He didn't have the arsenal in his leadership skills to be able to handle Ty the way he could. So instead, he's just like bullying him.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't being a bully. He was just bullying him.
He was, though. And as someone who was in the NFL and should know about leadership and talking to people, that was really bad form. I think.
I agree.
And even as a lawyer, I mean, it was really kind of shocking.
So something else that came up, and I wonder if it led to him being as confident as he was or as aggressive, was winning the immunity. You won a late individual immunity. Did you carry that badge like you had more control of that tribal council? Did you?
No.
Yeah, because Andrea did it. Andrea brought it up. Somebody else, Aubrey brought it up, even though it went completely opposite for Aubrey. Everything did this season. And then Brad's wearing the immunity necklace for like the last 5 days of the game. So, does that give you a false sense of security? Obviously you're secure about it power. Power seemed to come out of wearing that necklace.
No, not for me, because you're looking at one day, and I think that was Andrea, going back to Andrea, I think that was her fatal error in this game. Was like, well, I have the necklace, so now I can make a big move. It's like, just because you're wearing the necklace and you're safe, just take it that you're safe. But that still doesn't mean that you want to throw your whole game away. You have to still be thinking 2, 3, 4 days ahead. So I don't look at it that way. I think it's interesting that other people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting what happens when some people get power and the way they act. Yeah. Going back to Brad, just really quickly, I don't see this as a character flaw so much as just a lack of leadership ability.
Yeah.
So I don't think Brad is a bully. I think Brad's method of trying to get somebody to do what he wants is not good because of a lack of understanding and knowing how to do it.
Going into the finale, I was a huge Culpepper fan. I still am. I still thought he did well. But I think, and not to make excuses for the guy, but it's also, day 38 of Survivor. And he's dealing with the guy who is at the slightest whim of a breeze goes the other way. And then he goes crying to somebody else. And he goes talking to somebody else. And I understand he was frustrated, but you still got to hold that frustration in. You can't go Michaela on the challenge and kick the box. You got to hold that. And you're right. He completely messed that line up. He might have gotten one more vote, but he did screw up. But I don't know what it's like to be out there for 37, 38 days, starving, tired.
I do.
This close. Yeah. I know. That's why I brought it up. This close to $1 million, So.
But you still have to remain humble. You're still playing the game. Just because you're 2 or 3 days away and you're going to Final 3, or you feel like, I'm going to make it to Final 4. You still don't act like that. You literally can't stop playing the game until you're either torch is snuffed or you're like the final tribal's over. There's no point where you can just start acting a different way, because everything matters.
And just to give another tip, sorry,
everybody's been out there 38 days.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. No
so
excuses.
if it's an excuse for him, it's an excuse for everybody, and no one else did that.
And the undercover cop is out there the same amount of time, and the one time she goes off is in front of everybody when she was betrayed by a friend. Mm-hmm. That's when she goes off. She doesn't go off any other time. She just happens to do it to Mama Sari, and it's when she was betrayed in front of everyone. Nothing, so that was good on Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? Oh, let's talk about how Troyzan handled Final Tribal. Now, my what?
I just thought it was great. It's so typical Troy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, go ahead, David.
Yeah, David, tell us your thoughts.
After probably about 2 hours of this, which we'll get to the new Final Tribal format, or not new, just the test run.
Yeah.
After 2 hours of that, and basically, I think it was Probst that had to lead a question towards Troy, and Troy's just going, "Wow, you know what? I'm going to go out smiling. Came in smiling. I'm just going to go out smiling.
Finally."
Yes. Yeah. He didn't get called upon something until he could have been the tiebreaker. But he said he just thanked everybody for giving. I love being in this second chance with you guys, and obviously I didn't get here the way you thought I should. So, good luck to you, and I'll see you when it's over.
But we've seen other people in that situation get really irritated.
Yes, we have.
Mad. We've hung around Troy some, and that's just not who he is. You know, he's a fun-loving guy.
It's funny because I listen to. I don't listen to other podcasts, which I'm very proud of. But when somebody asked me to listen to one, I listened to it. And I did listen to Max and Corinne talk about Troy and why he doesn't get a lot of confessionals. And Corinne had a great point. She goes, because he's not a weirdo. When you get to talk to him, he's one of the nicest, humblest, easygoing guys you ever talked to. And he's not a character. He's not a Debbie. He's not a Ty. He's just Troy. He's so stinking likable, I think is what she said. It's you're not going to get but good, honest talk out of him. And he's not really a crazy character. So And that's who he is. That's when you talk to him.
Yeah. So what do you think, Kelley?
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was funny with Troy, that he thought that he could beat anybody, and then it was just so kind of ironic that he was the one that couldn't beat anyone. It was, you know, that's the way it goes. I mean, there's always one person like that every season in the final three, and
do you think he misunderstood the question? You know, I seriously thought to myself, surely he misunderstood the question. And now he just doesn't want to go back on it.
Well, the question had two sides. Either you're playing up to the players that you want them to take you to the end because you say you can't beat them, or you're playing to the jury saying, yeah, I can beat these guys because I've been doing a lot of work and you guys just haven't seen it because you're out of the game. So everybody else is playing up to each other, and he's already feels like, well, I'm in everybody's final three packed. Might as well just start playing up to the jury. I don't know if he thought that, but it's a 50-50 shot.
But
I think Probst almost... Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Well, I was just going to say, I bet Probst fell off the stump and had to get back on.
Yeah, he's like, really, Troy? You think you can beat everyone here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But even in his final tribal, like the answer when, I don't even remember who asked him, you know, well, what have you done? And even his answer was just so sad. He was like, well, you know, I didn't always make the biggest moves, and, you know, I knew I was safe in my sixth, and it's just like, oh no, like it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. It wasn't. And I like Troy too, and I've talked to Troy, and he's from an area where I grew up in Ephrata, Dwayne. He, you know,
Ephrata
is familiar with Washington State, so I've had good conversations with him, and I do really like him. But it was kind of like, oh man, it wasn't good.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of fun having him on next week because I can't wait to hear all the stuff that he has to say about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I just thought that was kind
so.
of
What
fun.
about about the final tribal format? What did you guys think of it?
Okay, I loved it.
You did?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Here's why, and then we'll hear why you didn't like it. Or why
I do like it. I did like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did.
I loved it because conversations go places, right? Yeah. And that allowed conversation to really happen and real things happen rather than a predetermined speech and some answer that doesn't get any response. So we got to hear some actual responses and new ideas at the final tribal, and I loved it.
Yeah, I agree 100% because there was this natural flow, and you actually it was this open conversation, and you actually got to hear people talking in a normal way versus someone getting up there asking a stupid question or asking a question because they want to be remembered at their final tribal or okay, Dwayne? Or
sorry, we're gonna.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just making sure you're all right. Yeah, I really, really, really liked it. I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
I hope they did it.
Yeah.
I hope they did it in 35. I really do. Which I think they probably did because they probably liked where it went too.
Yeah.
You know, they can get a feel for that.
Well, what I liked was people had a chance to do follow-up questions. Like you said, the discussion continued. Stupid people didn't get to ask stupid questions. They were given topics. Because you said all my reasons too. But he gave them topics which didn't necessarily line up with what the words he was using. But at the same time, it kind of formulated into a discussion. Like you said, you know, I'm going to throw out a topic and let you guys discuss it. Now, who wants to go first? I like that. I like that once I spoke, I wasn't done. If Dwayne asks a great question, gets a sorry answer, I can follow it up with a follow-up question. And but you
can follow up on someone else's question.
Exactly. The only thing I didn't like was, and I agree with Mark Percy, too much Probst. He just talked and talked and oh my gosh, he talked. It's like Dwayne in a podcast. He just talks and talks and talks. But and it just seemed like a lot. It seemed like he was really going out of his way to try and explain this. And I'm like, he's like, look, I want you to ask questions about outplaying someone. Come up, you know. And I'm sure the jury was prepped for this in a way. Surely they were given some kind of lead into this. So surely they had questions. Yeah. So, but I agree. No big speeches. I'm the center of attention here because I'm on the jury and I'm going to make a speech that ends it all, you know, and who knew who was going to speak last? So that didn't matter. So yeah, I thought it was a really good idea.
And then even they're addressing Brad and Sarah has the freedom to get in on the conversation.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah. When she stopped and said, well, Brad may have won all these immunities, but my game was different, and this is what the tools I had to use. I mean, that was just so great. Like, it just did allow her a chance. When someone just asks you a question, let's say they get up there and they direct a question at Brad, and then nobody else gets to speak on it. It's like, well, that question could have been good for other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's a really good decision CBS made. I think that's one of the better things they've done to change the game in a long time. That was just, in my opinion, really good. Let's see. David.
Hello, Dwayne.
See where I'm going here. See where I'm going here, David.
Uh-oh.
David, your accomplishment of being on this show for over 300 episodes should not be lost on people. Only 2 people have done that.
Stop.
I know, because I am one of those amazing people, and I want to make sure that everyone realizes that I am just as good as you, David, even though you were at the final tribal and I'm sitting here on the bench wanting people to love me. That was Ozzy.
That was so embarrassing, you guys. It was, it just goes back to what I was saying about people being able to say their last piece and get their last word in. Like Brad, I'm just as good as you. I'm just not sitting there. It's just like, oh my God, let it go. Like, we get it.
You are in an elite group of 5 with me and some other dude.
Some other people, yeah. Some other person, yeah.
I don't know who they are, and I wouldn't know it was you if you weren't here in front of me.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah, that was weird.
He did that several times, and he speaks as though he is the survivor. I know everything about Survivor, and you must listen to me because I know. That's how he speaks.
But you guys,
everybody.
that's Ozzy's game. He's so like one note. Like, that's always been his game. It's just win immunities. And so his reasoning for, being Brad's soldier or whatever, it was like, yeah, because that's all that you do. Like, it's making me think you literally can't see like what good gameplay is. It's kind of strange.
Pretty sure 4 is enough, right? I mean,
I'm
3's
pretty
company,
good on that.
4's too much.
5 is, forget it.
Please. Sarip, sure, bring her back. I don't care. Yeah. But no, we don't need more of Ozzy. By the way, Deborah added another job to her list of 1,000 jobs. She is now Ozzy's first lieutenant, or whatever she said.
Yeah.
She will use that in some other future something. At one time, I was a volunteer assistant to Ozzy.
She's putting that on her LinkedIn as we speak.
Yeah. Boy, she was crazy. She was crazy the whole season.
She was wild.
Yeah. Of course, you know that the whole thing with Brad was all just a show.
I heard that. Yeah.
Which I am glad to say that David and I at least suspected that.
Oh,
something Troy Zan would never do. Because he's not a character.
Oh. Yes. Man, that was scary. That was a scary episode. But anyway.
It was strange.
Let's see. We already talked about that. David, you got a topic you want to bring up?
I'm telling you, I was like half asleep by the time it was ending. It was just because it was good. I really felt for Brad at the finale when Probst wanted to go into let's see how you would have won. And all he wanted to do was apologize to Ty. I love that. I've been in that situation where I said more than I probably should have to somebody, and all I wanted to do was find him and apologize to him. And I love that. It makes me like him even more. I liked him in the first season he played. But
he's had a year to apologize, David.
Yeah, but now he didn't know that. No, yeah, he did. But you know what? When he left the game, he probably never thought about it until he saw it backstage and said, "Oh my gosh, wow! Did you really have to show that?" And, and obviously they did. So, and what's funny was it seemed like whenever Sierra got asked a question in the finale, she was kind of looking at Probst like, what are you going to ask me? Or where is this going? She just had that look. I don't know if it's a model thing or what it is.
In the finale?
Yeah,
or
what
the reunion?
questions did she get asked?
I'm trying to remember. He asked her about, if you're not Sarah, every question you're going to get from Probst at the reunion is, you failed because, are you happy with how you failed? You didn't take Ty, Brad. And Sierra, you told her about the legacy advantage. Why would you do that? And tell her how to get it, how she can take it from you, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It was just weird. Too much Probst. I'm sorry. I want him to stop talking in challenges. That's right. I'm at that point now with Probst that I just said he stopped talking in challenges, and let's hear the sound bites coming from the players. I'm just
David is not a Probst fan.
David, tell us how you really feel. I feel like this is years of pent up anger,
where's
coming out. Like, all of a sudden, you're just like spewing.
It's too much me. It's just all it is. I don't know. It's just.
Well, it is his show.
I know, and we're reminded of that every week.
Well, I mean,
but. No, because you go back and watch the old seasons, and he doesn't talk in challenges, and I love it. And
it's because they didn't have microphones back then.
But if he doesn't make it personal, it's one thing. But when you call people out for getting nervous, and they're not, and you call people out for freaking out and getting so far behind because they're stuck, I don't know. It's just me. I just thought there was too much Probst last night. Maybe that was just me.
We didn't get that. Really?
You didn't watch the whole show.
I mean, you feel like there was too much Probst?
I did at the final tribal. And I'm man enough to admit it. See, I'm being honest here. I'm not defending myself or being an attorney. I'm just being honest and trying to win the podcast. So,
okay, I only watched the first part of the reunion. I'm not a big fan of the reunion show at all. But I did love seeing, and Kelley, you've probably seen this side of him, so I'm sure you recognized it. But I even recognized he was getting flat out irritated.
He was PISSED.
That's what I was thinking.
He was mad. You could tell. He was mad. He was really, because, I mean, Brad was just, there's only so much time, and so they want to ask what they want to ask, and it's the Jeff Probst show, so he wants to get in his question. But he was peeved, for sure. You could tell on his face.
Right. Now, did you recognize that?
Yeah.
So you've seen that side of him before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There were a couple times in Second Chance where he would literally call people out at Tribal Council and say stuff like, if you're just going to say yes or no, like, why would I even bother asking you a question? Like, he can be nasty. Yeah. Yeah, he can be. Yeah.
But that's a way of manipulating.
That's true.
He probably gets him to talk after that,
What was the comment he made to Sari?
No, he doesn't. Kelley's like, no. Nice try, Dwaine.
What was the comment he made to Sari about not knowing things or something people think I do but I don't, or something? Was it about something being scripted or something he said to Sari when she came out there and everybody laughed? I forget what he said now. Probst said something during the show when he called Sari out by herself. He said, because, we don't know how things are going to go and yada, yada, but people think we do, but, and,
I remember that.
I forget what he said, though. Maybe somebody in the chat room knows.
Well, he was basically saying, people accuse us of knowing what's happening.
It was also metamorphosis. He said that word just came out, and how that worked out that way, and,
No, because, well, and they couldn't have known that was going to happen at Tribal, but when have you ever seen Survivor use a word that's not a part of the game?
Exactly.
Like, metamorphosis has never been used as like a key word in Survivor. That was the weirdest thing. I'm not sure.
It's also out of character for the game because the game was about changing the game, not changing the people. But it was about metamorphosis is about people changing or about something changing, not about the. I don't know. I didn't think it lined up. It was really odd for that episode.
Well, and I would propose that they did have an idea that might happen at Tribal Council.
Really?
Especially, okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I got my hat on.
Speculation.
Got my hat on.
Yeah. So you didn't watch the reunion show. You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
I only watched through the, like what I said, where, he did the.
He talked to Zeke for about 15, 20 minutes, and then he talked to Varner for about 2.
Yeah. Varner, I love Varner. Varner's a great guy.
I know.
CBS pretty much threw him under the bus for their agenda. So there you go.
Tell us what you really think, Dwaine.
Huh? What?
Tell us what you really think.
I make one sentence. You get on your soapbox and jump around.
It's my soapbox.
That's right, and I'm proud of it. All right, I only have a couple more notes before we get to feedback, and I think we've already talked about it. It's not a game. It's not a game for a guy like Ty. Oh, but this isn't particularly a spot on his character. Speaking of Ty, we're all not policemen. We're all not empathetic counselors, so we all are different and we all interact differently. But I think an empathetic counselor or even an extreme like Ty is just not a good fit for this game, in my opinion. But we already talked about that. So, all right. Well, we can get to feedback if y'all are done. If there's nothing else you wanted to bring out. Kelley, was there anything else you wanted to bring out?
No, I felt like, and that's so funny because I feel like we kind of got through the finale so quickly, but it really was just like Brad being a bully, winning immunity, Ty making bad decisions, and Sarah winning. Like it was, and the Suri vote.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like, it was pretty. It was a decent finale. It was okay.
My only other thought was I still love Aubrey. I think she's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So.
What happened to Aubrey this season? It just goes to show that editing really can change. I mean, it was very strange to me the way she was shown her first time versus this time.
It seemed like she just kept getting on the wrong horse. She kept getting behind the wrong group, and it's so funny that Andrea had power with her idol, and then Aubrey wins, and she has power with no, she doesn't. She's actually on the bottom of the vote, going the wrong way. It's just I don't know.
It's like she opened up the wrong door every time she had a choice.
There you go.
And sometimes she didn't even have a choice.
But it's even strange that she went from her first season to being the person that everyone thought should have won, that everyone loved, to going to this second season. And you guys, this is so awful. And I really like Aubrey a lot. But there were times when, Arlen and I would be watching, we'd be counting on our fingers, like where we thought the votes are going. And I would always say, like, crap, I'm missing a vote. Who am I missing? And we would sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, and you'd be like, oh, my God, the girl with the glasses. And I'm like, Aubrey. Like, I forgot she was on this season. It was that bad at some point.
You know what? I think the other survivors did, too. Because it seemed like she was always standing on the outside of a conversation. Yeah. She was always walking up to something else that was going on. And she's such a smart and likable person. But, I was an unfortunate loss.
Don't you know she watched this season and just remembered every single tribal council where she ended going, wow, I had no idea, but that was good. No. It's like all this great gameplay is going on, and I don't get to be a part of it. Yeah. So how about those challenges? I mean, we haven't talked about the challenges. Did y'all like those 2 challenges being the challenges? Let's talk about the maze thing. How about Ty following Brad around? That would irritate me to death. If I was Brad.
He's got to do what he's got to do. That was cool. I would have loved to have done that challenge. That was huge.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Huge.
I don't think they gave that maze credit. That maze was a lot bigger than what they showed because they showed so many close-ups. We only got that first shot of the maze. And I'm sure production was going, we spent 3 days putting that maze together, and you get one aerial shot? Are you kidding me? Yeah. So that was beautiful. They showed
a few more, didn't
they? They showed it a couple.
You saw little ants running. Saw little ants running through it. Yeah.
They showed the cargo net more than anything else. They're like, we put that up in 30 minutes. What about the maze?
Yeah. And then Brad lands on the camera and breaks it.
Yeah, really. I love the puzzle of it because it's not just a sit your pieces down puzzle. It's a hold your pieces up. Figure out which pieces go where. It's a you better get this right or you're going to just miss out. I love the puzzle part of it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So what about the other challenge? With the ball and the thing.
That was wasn't that the Keith Nail challenge where he got to see that early? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was fine.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay.
But see, the thing is, if everybody had seen these challenges, Sarah's point of him being a physical athlete or a professional athlete wouldn't have carried as much weight because these weren't physical athlete challenges. These were puzzles.
Right.
And patience.
Right.
And the last one was the Mike Holloway challenge where you build the lighthouse. They added the little number code clue.
That's right.
That you put the top on, but that was just about over before it started.
They should have had them run up that thing like 8 times.
Yeah.
For every puzzle piece.
Let's make seriously, let's make that thing really hard. Where they're having to lay down on the ground for 10 minutes before they can go up again. That's what I want to see.
We're only a professional athlete like Brad could do well. Yeah, let's keep adding more stairs.
Okay, fine. But I admit though, I would love to see another one of those stand here as long as you can.
Yep.
If it takes 2 days, it takes 2 days. Don't take your hand off the post. Kelley doesn't like that idea.
No.
I mean, I hate that idea. I would never want to see that.
Good. That was a good turnaround. I like that.
Yeah.
It was very, very quick.
There we go. There we go.
Playing up to the jury. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, I'm just playing up to the guest. Yeah. I got to make sure the guest likes me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't worry.
All right. Well, anything else before we get to feedback? I think we're ready for feedback.
I think we're ready.
I do. We don't have a ton of it because it is, a couple hours after the show ended. But I tell you what everybody needs to do, though. They need to read Ryan Kaiser's blog. And he writes for us on SurvivorTalkWithD&D.com.
She got a flyby.
Aliens.
She got a flyby. That was pretty cool.
If it's not a choir, it's an alien.
And we saw it, too, because the noise took over the screen and we saw the shadows go by. It was an alien. Oh, wow. Good call, Dwaine.
I don't know. It's probably one of the seaplanes or something coming down to land anyway.
Wow.
It's always something, you guys. I live in the city. Like, I literally live like right by the Space Needle. So
we heard Kelley's on D&D.
Busy.
Let's do a flyby. Let's get our noise on the podcast. That's right.
Next time we have Kelley on, there's going to be like a riot outside her window or
Those
something.
do happen a lot in Seattle. Not riots, but marches for sure.
Wow.
Anyway, okay, back to the feedback.
All right, so head on over to our website, SurvivorTalkWithD&D.com, or just go STWDD.com. And check out Ryan Kaiser's blog along with other things. So there you go. All right, listener feedback. So David has put together this amazing feedback. And as you know, document. And as you know, Kelley, we don't just read it. We talk about it. So
Okay, good.
we invite you, of course, to talk about it with us.
Okay.
And David, who's reading Dave's? You don't have names by them.
No,
Will has an audio?
I figured we'd wing it.
Well, you read it because I got to go get Will's audio.
Okay.
So
I'm glad I put that on there. Guys, thanks for a great season. You make a great show even better. So answer me this. Why was Brad Culpepper wearing a canvas bag the entire episode?
Oh, yes.
Was
How
that
did
from?
we not talk about this?
Oh, yeah. Was that from sunburn or something? Or what was he trying? Because that's the worst thing to wear when you get sunburn.
No, there's no way. I don't know where that came from. Was that his, like, warrior outfit? Like, that was so weird.
But he wore it to
And where
tribal
did
too,
get
didn't
that?
he? Yeah.
It was like the rice sack or something? Like, I have no idea.
That's true. Yeah. He goes on. Did I miss him wearing this earlier in the season? I don't think so. This was the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
If not, there's a story that I want to know. Did he think Monica would want to wear a canvas bag? So I will too.
This is for Monica. Everything he did. This is for Monica.
Yeah.
Adrian.
He said, "Did Ty trick him by saying, 'Wear this piece of garbage as a shirt, and I'll vote for you at Final Tribal'? Or was he trying to subliminally control the jury members who might otherwise not want to give him $1 million since he's already wealthy by looking like a pauper?" So
that's good.
I don't know. I was also wondering, and that makes me think too. Do you remember when Brad said, "I don't need the money. I just want to win"?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so irritating.
Yeah.
But he said it in the confessional though, not to Final.
I know, but as a viewer, it was really kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, how nice for you.
Yeah, to me it takes away just an ounce of the
must
effort
be
that
nice.
you're going to put into it, because if it's just to win, then you're just seeing it as a game. But if there's money on the line, then you'll do anything for money. You know, it's how far will you go? He goes on and says, "Ozzy, I love his all-out playing the game, and not to upset Miriam, but come on, he tried to make Final Tribal all about him. The world doesn't revolve around Ozzy."
It does to Ozzy.
That's right.
And it should for you, David.
Okay.
That's what Ozzy thinks.
I'm pleased the jury awarded the best game. Previous All-Star season juries tended to vote for the person they were least angry at. Catch you later, Dave Holdsworth, New Jersey.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. So, David, during that feedback, I downloaded Will's feedback, edited it, compressed it, and normalized it, and put it on my iPad.
And now it's
I
like
just thought I'd say that.
Very impressive.
In the honor
because
of
it's all
Ozzy,
about
I just
you.
wanted to brag
Feedback
on
is
myself.
all about you.
That's right. It's all about me. That's right. It's all about me. Here we go. Will, the giant ninja.
What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. Well, here I am. It's early morning. I am driving to court, and I saw on the Facebook feed that we had to get our feedback in quite early today because of Dwaine's anniversary. Apparently, real life takes priority over a Survivor podcast, tisk to tisk. But so I thought I'd send in some audio feedback without really preparing it at all, and just speak off the cuff a little bit about 3 observations that I had from last night. Number 1, Cirie. Miss Cirie Fields was voted out of Survivor Season 34 with a total of 0 votes cast against her the entire season. That's what happens when there are 3 immunity idols and an advantage and a immunity idol all in play in the same round. One person is not immune, and they go home. Cirie, that is simultaneously a horrible and a wonderful end to your Survivor story. I predicted it last week on the Facebook feed, and I wish I was wrong about it, but it came to be. So, good game. Sorry to see you go. Number 2, Brad. I don't know what the editors did to me over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I legitimately was cheering for Brad. I wanted to see Brad win the game. I was pulling for him during those challenges. I was hoping that he would make the right moves, which he absolutely did not do, and I was disappointed that he didn't win. So I find that odd that I went from pulling from Sarah and believing that Sarah would win to still believing that Sarah would win, but starting to pull for Brad to thinking maybe Brad would pull this out and really cheering for him to being disappointed with a Sarah win, or more accurately with a Brad loss. I'm not sure what happened to me there, but the final tribal council for me was a reality call, because frankly, when you see Zeke and Michaela and Cirie on one side of a debate, and you see Ozzy and Debbie on the other side of the debate, I would like to think that I am on the Cirie and Zeke and Michaela side of things. But last night I was not. I was cheering for Brad. So I wanted to analyze Brad's game for just a short minute and see where he really, really, really went wrong. And it's with Ty. And I think he knows that. Number 1, how he dealt with Ty at Final 6 and Final 5. And number 2, not taking Ty with him to the end. Because as Jeff correctly pointed out during the reunion show, if it had been Brad, Ty, and Troyzan, Brad is your winner of Survivor Season 34. So he and Troyzan should have voted Sarah out when they had the opportunity at Final 4. But he let his emotions control the day. And that is never, never, never a good idea. And finally, number 3, I want to talk about Sarah, our winner. Sarah Lucina, Officer Sarah, the person who tried to play like my favorite survivor of all time, Tony Vlachos. She didn't play like Tony. She did some flipping. She did the best she could. Nobody's a Tony. Tony is a unicorn. There are no other Tonys. But I do like that she tried to emulate his game. She was, like Tony, granted numerous advantages in the game, but also, like Tony, she made those advantages. She engineered a situation through her personal relationship where Sierra Dawn Thomas, the fan favorite sheriff that she is, would leave her legacy advantage to Sarah and promptly voted Sarah out. She saw the vote steal that was plainly there for Michaela, but Michaela was too emotional to observe the situation and reach down and get it. Sarah saw it. Sarah did get it. Sarah made her own chances in that game and took full advantage of them. And she made very, very, very good moves. She played a good game. I'm not sure what happened along the way that made me stop pulling for her, but nice job, Sarah. Way to go, Officer Sarah. And with that, I need to go to court, so hopefully I win. Later, peeps. Will at the Giant Ninja.
All right. Thank you, Will. So I found that interesting. He was disappointed in a Sarah win. I didn't really see that coming. Okay, I guess y'all did.
No, I thought when he started talking about Brad that he was going to say that the editors fooled him because he had been pulling for Brad, but then at the very end, he was no longer because of his behavior. But he didn't. He said he was pulling for him the whole way through, so interesting.
Yeah, kind of. Well, no, he said he was going for Sarah. Or not going for. He was figuring Sarah would win. Then he was figuring Brad would win. Yeah. And then he was disappointed that Brad didn't win.
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
Well, but like he said, why didn't he win? Because he made some major mistakes.
Yeah.
That's
very true. Which we said already about Ty and all that. All the shenanigans.
I think he lost before Ty even, but that was that. I wonder if sure, was that production's way of saying he's definitely not going to win, or was that just saying that? See, it's still Brad. No matter what, it's still Brad. So, because he's right. They did give him quite a good edit, I thought, throughout most of the season.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh yeah, especially like early on when he's going around camp and
decorating
making it more. Yeah, I mean that's cool stuff because it does make it feel more.
He cries.
At home, even
he cries with the women. Aubrey called him one of the nicest people out here. Yeah. Debbie made up with him, so yeah.
Debbie.
Let's not spend any extra time on Debbie.
Okay, Andy Westover. Kelly's like, let's get the show moving along.
Let's don't stop on that topic. Let's keep going.
Yeah, another season. Yes. All right, Andy Westover. Another season is now in the books and already getting blowback from the Survivor blogarati.
Oh.
Good word.
I, for one, was entertained, and if people could get over themselves, they may just see what I believe is one of the greatest winning games we've seen in a long time and possibly top 10 ever. Here are some highlights of her resume. 0 votes cast against her throughout the game, despite being constantly identified as the major threat in the second half of the game. Only 8 other winners have made it through similarly unscathed. She had 3 votes. They just didn't count. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Isn't that what we said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2, she apparently had a tremendous social game. We didn't always see a lot of it, but we constantly heard how everyone just loved Sarah or she was their best friend out there. Seriously, like everyone said that.
Yeah, we never saw a scene where it looked like Sarah was meeting someone. It was always like the continuation of a conversation. To me, that's what I got out of it. Every time she was talking to somebody, it's like they'd already talked about stuff. They were just continuing the conversation.
There you go. Number 3, she voted correctly 10 out of the 11 times. 11 winners have been perfect on their votes. Wow. And she was darn close. This suggests that she was aware and involved in the voting. Number 4, she effectively tricked Sierra into giving her the legacy advantage. Number 5, she fooled Cirie with the vote steal advantage and essentially tanked her game. I don't know if she fooled her, but anyway. She was also the only one to notice the secret advantage at the challenge and somehow was able to go and get it without anyone noticing. I'm not sure how that happened. That's something we didn't talk about. So, Kelly, can we talk about that since we didn't talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know exactly how she did it.
I'm just messing with you. Oh. I love that she brought that up because no one knew.
Yeah, that was good. That was really smart. Yeah.
By the way, I did this, and they're all going, oh, wow.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
So to me, part of that was Sarah playing 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, and there's people out there that obviously I would guess are not playing 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Well, Michaela was up there just being
pouty,
snarky. Yeah, pouty and snarky until she realized continuing being pouty and snarky while the whole world is loving Cirie walking across a beam.
Yeah.
It was not in her best interests. See, now I'd be one of those people that'd be sitting on the wood going, okay, hurry up and get over. And then I'd be looking at everybody getting up and going, well, I guess I got to get up or everybody's going to think I'm a jerk. And I would get up and go over there.
You'd be the loudest cheerer.
Yes. All right. She fooled. Number 6. Overall, she was incredibly bold and fearless and very adaptable. She was able to move from voting block to voting block without any apparent blowback. Was her game perfect? Of course not. But how many actual game blunders do we remember from her? Compare that with someone like Adam Klein. where we were constantly wondering what the heck he was doing. Any mistakes she may have made were largely unseen or were effectively mediated by her social game. Her game has been frequently likened to... Yes, ma'am.
In Adam's defense, he was a first-time player.
Mm-hmm.
So he did make mistakes, but you learn a lot from your first time to second time.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
There you go. Did you hear Adam's chicken story?
No.
Go. No, that's okay. Go to our YouTube page and look up. And I made just a clip, so you don't have to watch the whole show.
Okay.
It's a clip of Adam tells what actually happened on the first day when they all went and who stole the chickens and what happened.
Oh,
It's quite funny.
Okay, I'll go watch. Okay.
Her game has been frequently likened to Tony, only Sarah was able to smooth things over with her own social game rather than being dependent on someone like Trish to fill that role. Oh, okay. He meant as that's what was different than Tony's game. Sorry. I hope that with time and perspective, people will see her as the great winner that she is. Considering that this was an all-star season with an unprecedented number of twists and general complication, she should be a lock for a spot in or near the top 10. Andy Westover, Cameron, Missouri. What's going? Is the bloggerazzi saying she's not a good winner or something? Is that what's going around? I don't know. I don't keep up with that.
I have no idea.
I don't either. David, do you have any idea?
Not that I've read. So, Andy, if you want to share any or give links to them, you don't. I guess you can put them on our Facebook group, or you can comment. You don't have to. If you don't want to share the link, just comment on what you read because I haven't read anything too negative yet. The only thing I would say about that we didn't get this season, it's not necessarily on Sarah. I did read Dalton Ross's review, his 9-page review of the finale,
goodness.
And he mentioned, and I totally agree, that one thing the twist, the idols, the advantages did was it caused so much attention for them that we lost some story arcs. And we were limited to Sarah's story arc and towards the end Brad's story arc. But there were so many segments of the twists and of the idols and of the advantages and where they were involved and people revealing advantages that it seemed like it just went from segment to segment instead of giving us story arcs. Like with Adams. I thought with Adam we had a good story arc, especially towards the end. But I don't know. I would say she was a really good player, but she just played a 90% social game. 5% physical and 5% luck. She just played she relied on her social game that she was always in the numbers. The one time she did not vote right was when the vote was for Michaela and it suddenly got switched to Haley right after the merge. Every other vote she was in on. But it was her relationships that allowed her to jump from block to block, is that people were so comfortable working with her that she could fit right into those groups.
And how many tribals did she go to before the merge?
2, I believe. I got it right here.
Okay. And she also, you have to remember, when they had that swap, like she was never in the danger. She was never in danger.
Correct.
Really, honestly, like getting through that pre-merge and if you're getting stuck with the same people for that many days, like it really does set you up. Like Jeremy had the same thing when he was with Steven for so long. Like you just, it really is really helpful. So. I don't know. That was just a side note. But.
Right before they went back to 2, and she voted out Sandra and Jeff Varner. So that was the only 2 times she had to go to tribal. She didn't go to tribal until 16 days into the game.
That's pretty lucky. It's pretty good. Like that sets you up pretty well.
That's
not
a good
taking anything away from her game, but I'm saying like it's pretty. That helps you a lot.
For 16 days, she and Andrea and Zeke and Ozzy were on tribes that did not finish last in challenges.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But
anyway.
Yeah. All right. So as we close out today, I want to bring back a few little memories. So here's one. Here's one.
No. Oh,
this
God,
is Kelley Wentworth from Survivor San Juan del Sur.
Take it away.
And you're about to listen to one of my favorite sources for all things Survivor. This is Survivor Talk with D&D.
Okay. We're going to use that next year, weren't we?
Why do I sound like a different person? I sound like I've been smoking for like 20 years.
Probably because you were right up to the microphone and you spoke into the microphone.
Hello, this is Kelley Wentworth. You're listening to one of my favorite sources for Survivor information.
That's so embarrassing. Okay, whatever.
All right.
Oh, go back and listen to podcast number 1. Then you'll talk about embarrassing.
By me, Dwaine Stroud, from Survivor Talk with D&D. to you, Kelley Wentworth. Kelley, my friend, you were on Survivor.
Can we listen to this? Is that okay?
That's fine.
When we watched you, we felt fine. You fought near the bottom.
Oh, well.
And hid idols near your bottom. You made this season worth all our time.
Oh my gosh.
Kelley, 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 Kelley. Why? Because you're Kelley, 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 Kelley.
Okay.
Kelley, Kelley,
Okay.
Kelley, Kelley,
Okay.
Kelley, 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 Kelley.
That's funny. I forgot about that. That's hilarious.
Oh. Ah.
Wow.
All right, David, we've been doing this since One World. We did One World, Philippines, Caramoan, Blood versus Water, Cagayan, San Juan del Sur, Worlds Apart, Cambodia, Co-Wrong, Millennials versus Gen X, and Game Changers. And we will be doing the unfortunately titled Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers next season. And I just want to, in front of everybody,
including Kelly's dog,
and in front of Kelly's dog, thank you for the wonderful time of podcasting with you. And it's been an awesome several years, and I really enjoy it. And so thanks, David, for being a great co-host.
I thought you were going to say we started with Trorzan, we end with Trorzan, and we're done. I thought this was the last one. So we're not done.
No. So there you go. If you would like to support Survivor Talk financially, you can do so by heading to our website, stwdd.com, scrolling down and clicking on the flippy things. Amazon and Patreon. You can do that. I know. I made them flippy so people would want to touch them.
Oh.
Sorry, I did not mean it that way. Y'all.
So this being our last podcast.
All right. So those of you who are still with us hanging around, thank you very much. If you listened in your car, be safe. If you listened at work, I hope your boss didn't catch you. And I would just like to ask if Kelley first, or not first, because give you time to think about it. David, do you have any final words for everyone before we head off?
Yes, we do hope to have a few post-game interviews. So follow us on our Facebook group, and we will share it on that page. And Dwaine will probably tweet it, but you'll know when we're having them on live, so that if you want to go in the chat room and join us, ask questions that surely we will not think to ask, you can do that. But we'll let you know if we get to talk to these folks and when that's coming up.
Awesome. Do you have any final words about the show or about the season?
I was asked that today, and I overall graded it a B+. Only because I enjoyed Sarah's win. I enjoyed everything we saw about Sarah's win. Like you said, it was very fun to watch, and I loved that part of the game. I really felt there was just too much production to some degree, only because of the twist and the idols. And you know what? If Ty's going to carry idols for 38 days, they need to put limitations on certain things. Or put an expiration date or something. I don't know. But anyway.
And there was too much Jeff Probst, dadgummit.
I didn't say that. You said that. So, no, but but you know what? Any survivor's good survivor. So I loved it.
How about you, Kelley? Any final words about the season? Or just the amazing opportunity to be on our show?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I liked this season. It was good. Like I said, I think if I were to go back and watch it again, I would maybe feel differently, because there are moments I liked. There was moments I was like, it's fine. And I'm fine with Sarah as the winner, but Team Sari for life, okay? And I'm looking forward to next season. I don't know. I want to see who all these people are and how they put them on tribes, because I don't know about you, but a personal assistant doesn't really strike me as like a hustler. Like, that's not really the first word that comes to mind. I think of someone like selling Air Jordans in their basement.
That's one of the jobs?
I don't know. So
that's one of the hustler jobs, is a personal assistant?
Yeah. Or no, it's like it's like personal assistant or something.
Okay, I didn't see any of that. Do you mind? Do you have time to tell me about that,
Kelley?
Kelley?
Oh, I forgot you didn't see that. Yeah. So the what is it? Oh, Heroes.
Season 35.
Heroes. Yeah, so that's going to be I can't remember the people exactly, but I feel like it was like a firefighter.
There's
something.
a Marine.
Okay.
There's an
Yeah,
ex-Marine
you.
on there, and I forget what the other ones are.
Oh, I get it.
And then a healer is like there was a surgeon.
Yeah.
And then there was a physical therapist or something.
Might have been a nurse or something like that.
Something. And then the hustler,
Okay.
it was a administrative assistant or personal assistant or something, and then a bellhop.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know.
He's the next
Maybe
Cochran
because-
David. He's the next one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they work for people who so they got to do all the work. Like they have to do all the hustling and bustling. Maybe that's what it is.
So we were watching last night, and Arlen saw Hustler, and he's like, "Are they gonna have a drug dealer?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
Exactly.
But
We're having a
that
con
is
man.
what you think of initially, but I don't think so.
Yeah, we're going to have the Italian mom on here from Chicago.
So anyway,
This guy has killed 50 people.
yeah. So all
Don't
the-
cross him.
That's next
Meanwhile,
season.
Someone's like, meanwhile, someone's filing paperwork and they're in the Hustler category. I don't know. But anyway.
Hey, that's next season. The Mafia versus Moms versus Mormons. They'll just go with that for next season. So
Wait, what? Versus what? What was that?
the Mafia versus the Moms versus the Mormons. They'll just go with
Oh my gosh. Jehovah Witnesses versus Mormons. Okay, forget
We're
it.
probably not far off from that, you guys. Based on this new season, I'm a little bit like, okay.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch, to put it lightly. But anyway, that's all you missed, David. Dwayne, you'll probably see more coming out as it gets closer. But
All right. The only thing I have to say left about the season is I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the summer, and I will enjoy the next season when it comes. Until then, after we get done with our post interviews, after that, I will be chilling out with no Survivor for several months. I'll be like Kelley and just kind of
disappear.
don't care. Yeah, I'm not going to go to any parties that I'm invited to.
Or not invited to.
Or not invited to.
That are sent to this address.
I'm not going to start a GoFundMe to get me back on the show. I'm not going to do anything like that. There you go. All right, then. That is it for me and David and our wonderful guest, Kelley. And so we will see y'all later. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.